CFL insider, reporter for RDS. You can follow him on twitter.com/Didier RDS. It is Didier Orméjuste. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Matthew?
Very well. Thanks so much for joining us. Of course, you know Mo Khan here in studio as well. Mo, I know you're excited to talk some Als as well.
We've spoken briefly, Didier and I, in years past, yes.
Yeah, yes, we have. Yeah. How you doing, Mo?
Not bad. Yourself, man?
I'm good, man. Football is back, so yeah, it's a great day.
Oh, definitely is. Didier, of course, day one of training camp has officially begun in Lennoxville. Your early day one thoughts of what went down in Lennoxville with the Alouettes today?
Well, I mean, it was a good practice. The tempo was obviously different from the practices under Mark Trestman, but that was to be expected. I think it kind of caught off guard some of the veteran players. A lot more teaching period during practice when Mark Trestman practice were more high tempos. But then again, it was also, day one of training camp. So usually, during the training camp, the early part of training camp, or the part where there's more teaching going on. But, I think it was a good day. It was day one. So, some players, showed up pretty well. Veteran Harlan Bruce did two spectacular catch in the early practice this morning for once. Also, Joe Messon, who's just a physical specimen. I mean, he's 6'3", 245. Looks like he could play defensive end probably, but he's actually a tailback. He had a good day also, showed some speed for his size, so that high-speed ratio was really in display today from Joe Messon.
Chatting with Didier Orme-Juste of RDS, talking some football here on the program, Alouette style. Now, I'm very, very curious. We've seen it in the past, Didier, about some of the veterans they bring in, Jerry Porter and O.J. Santiago, and guys that kind of just hang around a little bit, Amon Green, and then they get rid of them. What do you think of Dominic Rhodes? Is he another guy that's going to be in that same mix, the former Colts running back? Is he just here for training camp and gone?
Well, so far, I mean, Dominic Rhodes' career with the Alouettes has been longer than Amon Green. I mean, Amon Green, we didn't even get to see him first day of training camp because he got cut the day before because he was hurt. But yeah, Dominic Rhodes looked good. Impressed me with his work ethic. Anytime that he carried the ball, I mean, he would just sprint all the way to the end zone, even if you get tackled for a loss. He keeps running and then sprint right back. So that was pretty impressive from him. Obviously, it showed that he came to camp in a great shape, great physical shape. I thought Dominic Rhodes looked good, but the surprise to me was Brandon Whitaker. Whitaker is 8 months removed from tearing his ACL. He was up there, did everything, carried the ball during the 12-on-12 period and during the team period, looked good. Obviously, didn't have the same burst that he had in past year, but that is to be expected. But I really thought that Brandon Whitaker would be on the sideline, doing his rehab for his knee. But he was out there with shoulder pads and helmet and running hard as he always did. So, Jim Pop was cautious when he met with the media after practice. He said that he doesn't know if Brandon Whitaker is going to be ready for the first game of the season. He said his goal is to have him on the field when he's 100%. But he looked good out there, was able to do everything. So I think that's really a good news for the Alouettes and their fans. Let's keep in mind that Whitaker led the league in rushing in 2011.
Didier, is there a position group you're going to pay attention to most that may have the most competition, given how we've seen new guys come onto this team during the offseason, and considering that we have a new system in place for the offense and defense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it has to be, I think, the tailback position. Just the numbers of tailback throughout the camp right now. I mean, Victor Anderson got released a couple of days ago. Victor Anderson was at a certain point in the season. Actually, after Brandon Whitaker got hurt, Henderson became the starter. Then he lost the job after he had a concussion to Chris Jennings. Chris Jennings was a starting tailback during the Eastern Final. That's something that a lot of people forget. And Jennings was out there today. So was Noel Devine. Also, first-round pick Stephen Lumbala out of the University of Calgary, who mainly was used as a fullback. And also, as I mentioned, Brandon Whitaker, Gerald Messon. So, it's going to be an interesting battle. But usually the Alouettes use one starting tailback, one import starting tailback, and have a backup, non-import backup dress for the game or two. So we'll see. It could have obviously an impact on the ratio whether Messon is a starting tailback or Brandon Whitaker if he's ready to go come June 27th in Winnipeg.
Game Points here on TSN 690, chatting with Didier Orme of RDS. We're talking some Montreal Alouettes here. Now, Didier, tell me they have a plan for returner. Tell me we're going to see an actual good return game. And you mentioned all these guys, Jennings and Devine. Will any of these guys, contend or factor into whoever will be the returner?
That is a great question. Listen, I saw out there Arden Bruce return a couple of punts today, but obviously this is only day one of training camp. We know that Noel Devine can return kicks and punts. He did it last year. But, yeah, that is a question. I mean, today I saw Trent Guy got picked up by the Toronto Argonauts, a guy who I thought did a good job returning kicks and punts last season. Bo Ling, who was also a punt returner for the Alouettes last year, is hurt right now. Suffered an ankle injury, so right now the Alouettes have him on the retired list, but he's supposed to be back with the team whenever he's going to be, he's going to be 100%, but as Jim Pop told us, that could take up to 2 months. So, yeah, that is a good question. Who's going to be the kick returner? Are the Alouette special teams going to be better? Because it wasn't only about the kicks and punt returns, but the Alouettes had that bad habit, the past couple of years of allowing long returns. So that would be something, to keep an eye on during training camp, and also during the preseason game.
Didi, how much rope will Dan Hawkins have, considering, of course, he's following the footsteps of Mark Trestman, given the success that Coach Trestman had with the Alouettes, but will he have a long leash to work with, considering that he is trying to adapt to the CFL and the rules that it has?
I think so. I mean, listen, the owner, Robert Wenenhall, and Jim Pop, and picked pretty much Dan Hawkins. They really liked him, but, it is business. So at the end of the day, you have to win. That's the bottom line. You have to win. But unless something goes drastically wrong with the Alouettes, maybe something like we saw in Saskatchewan a couple of years ago when they started, 0-7, and they had no choice than to fire Greg Marshall. I think, he's on a pretty long leash. We have to give him a chance, to see what he can do. Obviously, Hawkins never coached in the CFL. All his experiences in the NCAA. So we'll see. I'm on the record saying that I was skeptical when they hired him, but we have to give him a chance. And if you look at Jim Pop's record and Robert Wetenhall's record, when they handpick a head coach, most of the time they make the right decision. So we'll see. It'll be interesting for sure.
Chatting with Didier Orme of RDS. Final question for you here on the program. Looking at the defense, I mean, we talked so much about the offensive side of things, but the defense obviously has struggled on and off the last couple of years. We know all about the Jeff Reinbold era. What do we expect this year in terms of style of defense and whether or not this is going to be a top 3 defense this year or not?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Alouettes are going back to a 4-3 with Noel Thorpe as the defensive coordinator. My main question for that defense is who's going to be rushing the quarterback on the opposite side of John Bowman. We know what we're going to get out of John Bowman, probably double-digit sack. Last year he didn't get to double-digit sacks, if I'm not mistaken, for the first time in maybe 5 years. But who's going to be rushing the passer on the other side of John Bowman? That is the question. We'll see if someone's going to step up during training camp and through the preseason games. But to me, that is the question. Who's going to be able to get to the quarterback other than John Bowman?
Finally, Didier, we're going to put you on the spot here. After day one of training camp, who is your Grey Cup prediction come November?
Grey Cup prediction? Come on, man. After day one. I haven't even seen the other 7 teams practice yet. It's a new season, so ask me that question in October. How about that?
Hey, that didn't come from us. Mo said he was going to ask you that, and I said, really? And
absolutely, I have to ask him that question. Hard-hitting questions here on TSN Radio.
It's too early. It's too early, Mo. Think about last season. Remember the way the Argos started the season, really slow with Ricky Rick quarterback. It took them a while to get going offensively, at least. Ricky Rick got hurt, and he came back for the last month of the season and was just on fire. And we know what happened. The Toronto Argonauts are the defending champion. So, the CFL season is so long. I'm talking about 18 games. So much can happen. Even 2 years ago. The Lions started, 1-7?
Yeah,
Something disastrous, and they ended up winning the Grey Cup. So who knows? I mean, we've got to be patient. Same thing with the Alouettes. Got to be patient. Let's say if they have a rocky start, got to be patient because it's such a long season. It's a marathon, really. It's not a sprint.
Didier RDS on Twitter.com. It's a bilingual feed, in fact. So if you're interested in getting some good Alouettes info there, including he had a tweet. If you look at his profile on Twitter.com/Didier RDS, he had a tweet about Vince Young, which is kind of interesting. So check that out.
Yeah. Also, I tweeted the link of a video link actually of Jim Pop today, who talked to us. I actually asked him about perhaps eventually seeing Tim Tebow or Vince Young with the Alouettes because they don't have a job in the NFL. And it seemed pretty clear from what Jim Pop said that the CFL is not on the radar of Tim Tebow or Vince Young. Actually, Vince Young has a job lined up with his alma mater, the University of Texas, if he doesn't get a job in the NFL. As far as Tim Tebow, well, he's one of the most popular college football players in the States, one of the greatest college football players. I'm pretty sure, he could have a job, whether it's on television, but he has a lot of options, and the CFL doesn't seem to be one of them. So for the people who are hoping to see either Tim Tebow or Vince Young with the Alouettes, that ship may have sailed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Didier, and appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Huh?